You're listening to One Family, What's God Doing? Where we explore what God's doing in YWAM locations throughout Virginia. We can't wait for you to find out what God's doing today.
Welcome back to What's God Doing? And we actually have a really unique and special episode because on October 6th, Loren Cunningham, who is the co-founder of Youth with a Mission, passed away from stage 4 cancer. And so what we wanted to do is to take a moment in this space to celebrate Loren, not just who he was, but also how God worked through him throughout the world. And so one person that came to my mind that could be great for this conversation is Dale Mast, because Dale actually was able to get to know Loren over the years. So Dale, to start off, there may be people who have never heard that name before. So who was Loren Cunningham?
Well, Loren Cunningham left a legacy, and he, I would say, is probably the most influential missions leader in our time. He founded Youth with a Mission in 1960. His wife, Darlene, they joke about the two of them being the only staff in YWAM at the beginning. They were married 60 years. And, he, in 1999, became the first missionary to travel to all countries of the world, plus 100 territories. And Loren just had a burden and a passion for the nations. And I had the good fortune of getting to know him on a first-name basis, beginning in Chile with the leadership school. And then I was his van driver. But when I would hear him speak in that missions tour, he would give the history of Chile, and he would talk about the spiritual roots. And I know that if he did that in Chile, he did that in every country that he spoke in. And an interesting note is he told me, I asked him if he ever missed a meeting, speaking engagement. He said he only, in all his years, only missed 6. And that was because of political unrest in countries. And I said, were you never sick? And he said, well, I would not be feeling well, but the minute I touched the pulpit, I was fine. Man. That just reflects the anointing he had as the founder and as the leader of YWAM. He had such a gift of releasing people. So if someone would come to him and say, I want to do a surfer's CTS, he would say, go for it. And whatever it was, YWAM ended up being quite creative in the training schools. Early on, the threefold focus was evangelism, mercy ministries, and training. And so the Loren and Darlene in 1973 started the discipleship training school, which we call the boot camp of YWAM. That's how you enter. Mm-hmm. And the mercy ministries part, there's 28 ships now that go around the world, Africa, the South Pacific, 28 ships, and that's mercy ministries.
Yeah.
Medical teams. I'm in YWAM because I went for 3 weeks to Chile on an impact team. Dude. An impact team started in Hawaii in 1984 with a typhoon that hit one of the islands. And Loren goes, we need to go help and rebuild. And that, like so many other ministries in YWAM, multiplied to where YWAM Virginia soon had an impact teams program. South Africa had one. British Columbia had one. Kona, of course, had one. Lakeside, Montana. And multiplication is something quite amazing in YWAM. Mm-hmm. Now you would say there's probably between 20 and 30,000 full-time staff in YWAM around the world. There's 181 locations, which is a lot. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any other mission agency can say that.
Yeah.
So I share these things just to say that Loren was just an amazing leader. He had a sense of humor, but he would usually have a joke of some kind when he spoke. And his sense of humor was really, really special.
Well, and even the way that he operated is very different than what people would expect, because what people normally expect from someone who is a leader is that they really promote themselves and they really make a big deal out of themselves. Loren did the opposite. He said, I don't need to have a title. He decentralized YWAM, so it wasn't this big thing that he could set up and say, look what I created. And in fact, he was always quick to acknowledge that the whole idea wasn't even his own. It came from a dream that God gave him, and then he just took steps of obedience. And so, I say that because what Loren would want, I imagine, is not for everyone to make a big deal about him, but to continue in the work that God was doing. And so what would you say that you saw in Loren that you would encourage others to carry with them so that there is a legacy of how God's working?
Probably be willing to take a risk. And many times I would hear Loren say, do not forsake the day of small beginnings. He quoted that from the Old Testament. And he would share that as to encourage and to build faith and say, you start small and trust God to develop into something better. And again, it's the multiplication. It's a blessing that God put on YWAM because of Loren. Loren and Darlene were married 60 years. That's a lot. And just to add that November 2022, he was diagnosed with lung cancer and given 3 to 6 weeks to live. Well, he ended up staying with us for 10 months.
Yeah.
And he used that time to a maximum. He would do Zoom conferences with leaders in Africa and India, all over the world. A really significant event in the summer was what was called Strengthen the Steel. And this was in Kona. And there were 252 young YWAM leaders between the age of 20 and 30. And Loren taught them, he prayed over them, he imparted the importance of the values of YWAM. And I wish I could have been there just to witness it, but the pictures and the reports I got were just amazing. That was his heart, to raise up young people. And that's a risky thing too, because he, many times I think, saw the young people make mistakes that maybe an older person wouldn't, but just was such an encourager, an innovator, really.
Yeah. And that was one of the amazing things that I recently saw an article acknowledge about not just Loren and Darlene, but YWAM in general, is a recognition of who God could use. Because there's a lot of people that Loren welcomed in, like you noted, young folks that others may say no to because, well, you're not skilled enough, or you're not this enough or that enough, or you've done this or you've done that. But Loren recognized the ways that God invited him, despite whatever he did or didn't bring to the table, and that God was inviting others. And even God's ability to do the impossible. I love that you mentioned the sickness piece, but also his cancer journey, because that's what I thought of as well. Where the doctors were saying that he's, he only got weeks, maybe months if he's lucky, but really that's, you got to get ready for the end. And he's like, actually, I feel like God's telling me to keep going. And the fact that he was able to persevere in the way he did is a testament to what God can do through us. And so, I know that one of his big dreams throughout of his life, but towards the end especially, was that he wants every person to have the ability to access scripture in their mother tongue. And so I know that's one big way that people can be praying for that to continue on. But as we close out, is there a verse that comes to your mind when you think of Loren?
I do, and it's Revelations 7, 9, and 10. And it reflects Loren's passion to have the Bible in every language, that every tribe, every unreached group would be reached for Jesus. And, it's the vision of one day we will all be around the throne. multicultural, multi-backgrounds, but singing in one language, singing one song. So I'll read the verse, Revelations 7, 9, and 10. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. Paul, I saw a message on social media after Loren passed away, and the person said, I bet you he's up there with Billy Graham and Bill Bright praying for us. You know, it's just the glory of eternity. And surely he, as much as anyone, will receive the words, well done, thou good and faithful servant.
Mm-hmm.
He was quite a man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Dale, I want to thank you for sharing, and particularly because of your close relationship with Loren, and for helping to create this space to celebrate him. Because like you said, he was an amazing man, but what really made him amazing is because he knew there was an amazing God, and he was willing to submit to that, to trust that, to engage with that, to celebrate that. And for 63 years, he invited others to do the same in a really beautiful and unique way that you and I are now a part of. And, you know, so many others throughout the world are a part of. And so, yeah, it's just such a gift to be able to celebrate a man like Loren, but also to recognize that it wasn't simply about him, but the God who worked through him. And so that God continues to be God today, and we can continue to step in the same ways.
So over the many years of seeing Loren, both in teachings and on video live streams, but also in person, I was just taken back by his passion for the nations, getting the gospel out to everyone possible. And I really think that because of his passion, it trickled down and really made YWAM what it is, and how it reaches people and tries so hard to do that and be passionate about it.
Well, Loren Cunningham really left a mark on me and my family, showing that you can carry your God-given vision all the days of your life with the same passion, consistency, and humility as the day you received it. And so we bless you, Loren. Thank you, Loren, for the legacy you've left here in YWAM and in the kingdom.
Loren's life impacted my life to be a missionary in closer country, and also to live by faith. Thank you for your great example.
I really want to just take time to honor Loren's life by saying how humbled I have been to watch him, just the ways that he has just genuinely had excitement and joy for people. We just had the last 6 months in Kona watching him in different settings, and I watched how he saw people, the people in front of him, whether they were in a crowd or was just one person in front of them. I've just really been blown away by his humility. And again, that excitement and joy that he has for each person that he came in contact with.